Hello, I'm Sue Baker of It's Never Too Late, and this video is just to help you learn how you could use EFT for yourself. You can have a little bit of a practice after you've watched this, and if you go to the free resources, there's a tapping point chart just to familiarise yourself a little bit more with the tapping points. When we tap, we're tapping on specific points, and they're the ends of meridians. And meridians are energetic pathways that run all through our body. Most of the points that I'll use today will be on the head and the upper body, but there are other points that are on the hands, but I won't use those today, just to keep it fairly simple for you in case this is the first time you've come across EFT. And within the EFT, you will notice that we focus a little on the negative side of our emotions and feelings. But don't worry, that doesn't mean you're going to accentuate them. It's very important that we acknowledge how we're feeling. And if that's negative, we need to acknowledge that so that we can bring those feelings up and clear them and heal them. When we start an EFT round, we start with the setup point, which is on the karate chop. And that's the fleshy point between the bottom of the little finger and the wrist. And our setup statement is really designed to let our subconscious mind know what we're going to be working on. It also helps to get rid of any blocks that we may have had in the past to working with these issues, but we haven't actually managed to achieve that. So EFT is great for that. It'll really help clear those blocks out of the way. And you would just repeat after me the setup that we will say 3 times. And the subject matter that I've chosen to use today is anxiety and fear. And the words that I'll use will be fairly general. If you were working one-to-one with somebody, we'd get very specific because your words that you might use to describe anxiety would be completely different to mine. So it's quite important to use your words when we're leading the script. But for the purpose of today, they'll be fairly general. It will just give you an idea. So we would start by saying, even though I have these feelings of anxiety and I feel really fearful, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have all these anxious feelings, I feel like I've got butterflies in my tummy, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel really anxious and fearful, I love and accept myself anyway. And then from that point, we'd move to the top of our head, and we would just use some of the words that we've used in that setup statement. So these feelings of anxiety, then the eyebrow point, where the eyebrow meets the bridge of the nose. I just feel so anxious. Side of the eye, I feel really uncomfortable. Under your eye, I just feel so fearful. Under your nose, all these feelings of anxiety. Under your mouth, all this anxiety. And then your collarbone point, which is about 1 inch down from the little indent and 1 inch across. I just feel so anxious. And then under the arm, about level with where your bra strap runs, I feel terrified most of the time. Top of the head, I just feel so anxious. Eyebrow points, all these feelings of anxiety. Side of the eye, I just feel so fearful. Under the eye, this feeling of anxiety is just taking over my life. Under your nose, I just feel so anxious. Under the mouth, these feelings of anxiety. On your collarbone, I just feel terrified. Under the arm, all these anxious feelings. Top of the head, I just feel so uncomfortable. Eyebrow, feel really terrified. I just feel so anxious, so uncomfortable, so tense. I just cannot relax. My head just keeps running all these stories. And I feel so uncomfortable. I just cannot seem to find any peace. And then after we've done a few rounds like that, you would take a nice deep breath and just let that breath be a clearing breath. And possibly you would score yourself at the beginning of this. So on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being that you have no fear or anxiety, and 10 being that it's as intense as it can be. And then after you've done those few rounds, you would check in with that score and see if your numbers come down. And ideally, if there's still a little bit there, then you'd go back to your setup and you would say something along the lines of, even though I still have a bit of anxiety, I can feel it in my body, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I still have some anxious feelings, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I can still feel a bit of anxiety, I love and accept myself anyway. I still have a bit of anxiety. I still feel a bit flustered. I still feel a bit tense. And I still feel a bit uncomfortable. I still feel a bit anxious. This anxiety is still there a bit. I still feel a bit uncomfortable. I still feel a bit anxious. There's still some anxiety. There's still a bit of fear. There's still a bit of that uncomfortable feeling. I still feel a bit anxious. And I still feel a bit fearful. I still feel a bit tense. This anxiety. Still some anxiety. This anxious feeling. And then after you've done that, you take another deep breath and just check in with your score. Now, for the purposes just of this demonstration, I'll move on to the next stage, which would really come when you've got to the point of 0, between 0 and about 2. And then we could actually start to tap in some positive affirmations. And that would just help to bring your energy up. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I will show you how you can tap in some positive affirmations. And if we were really working in real life, I would want you really to be down to a score of between 0 and 2 before we started to tap in some positive affirmations. But it would go something like this. You wouldn't necessarily do your setup again. Go to the top of your head. And I'm starting to feel a bit calmer. Gosh, how would this feel? To feel calmer. To feel at peace with my life. To lose that anxiety. My body feels so much more relaxed. I feel so much more comfortable. I feel more at peace with myself. So much more comfortable. So much calmer. Oh, so much calmer. I really feel much more peaceful now. My head has settled down. There isn't all that chatter there anymore. I feel so much calmer. That anxiety has faded. And I feel really calm. And then again, you take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea and a bit of a flavour about what EFT feels like, how it feels to actually do it to yourself, and what it might appear like. Initially it can seem a bit odd because it just sounds strange, doesn't it? Quite away from the norm of what we normally do. But it really is so effective for getting rid of blocks and clearing your negative beliefs and all those negative feelings. So it's really worth giving it a try. So again, help yourself to all the free resources and really try embracing EFT, having fun with it. It can really change your life. It changed mine, and I've seen it change so many other people's. And so if you feel it's something you'd really like to try for yourself and work on your issues, then just contact me and we could arrange a free connecting conversation either by telephone or Skype. Just find out what your needs are and how I might help you.